You develop your midline when you start to crawl because you're doing crossbody stuff. And sometimes, especially if you find that you have left-right issues, if it seems like you have a hard time getting right to the point, like in school, and you kind of have to circle around a lot or read a few things a few times over, it might be indicative of a midline issue. So we're just going to do some simple crossbody stuff to check and make sure. You'll do this first, touching the inside of the knee. And then you'll touch the inside of the foot. So notice as you touch the inside of the foot, you'll have to flex the spine. And as you touch the inside of the foot, you're going to drag your knee out to the side. So you're taking your hip into external rotation. Touch the inside of the foot. Yeah, there you go. So if you feel like there's a brain thing going on, like it's not automatic, it might be indicative that this work is really good for you. And then afterwards, you're going to take your elbow towards your inner heel. You won't touch, but what you're doing here is you're really doing a standing crunch with this contralateral move. So really feel how you're crunching and flexing the spine, staying your shin ankle on the standing side. So you should be able to feel the core work. This is like doing a standing crunch, but make sure you're not pulling the knee across the body to do it, right? You want to take the knee out to the side and you want to feel like you're flexing. You could think of taking your sacrum back to make this movement. So that's midline work. So midline work is a good prep. If you feel like this does something to your brain and head, please do a lot of it. Okay. Now we're going to go and stretch out the tongue because the tongue is part of the midline. If you had the frenectomy where you have to clip the tongue, that means that you might have a really tight midline because the tongue is part of that development and it should separate. Let me know if you have had that surgery, because what happens is anytime you do surgical changes to things, let's say if you had a lazy eye and you had it corrected, there's a level of training as well. That's like correcting the hardware without changing the software. You need to change the software. You need to retrain yourself. Even as a child, that lazy eye has encoded you in a certain way, and you need to learn how to use that straight eye because it's not naturally corrected. So you have to consciously bring in that corrective piece. Same thing when people get the cochlear implant so that they can hear. Now they get the signals into their auditory cortex, but they don't know how to make sense of it. They need to train and they need to learn how to articulate words, how to create meaning. So all of this stuff that you correct with surgery, there is a learning piece that has to go on top of it so that your body and your understanding, and typically it's going to be through movements, come together.